we're going to talk about another communication principle for healing and overcoming complex PTSD. And the title of this is Say Its Name. And so I like to give themes to these things that are easy to understand and simple, especially because when we get triggered, we're losing a lot of executive functioning and control of our higher brain function. So we need things to be really simple that we can remember, we can recall, and like send our brain to look around for things. And so say its name, okay? And I'm going to say what it is here in a second. And so, um, but these are really important, especially if you grow up in family households that were dysfunctional, where there were generational patterns of complex um, post-traumatic stress, complex generational and dysfunctional patterns. The way of interacting with each other it needs to be overhauled. And so there are new principles that we need to operate by. And so this principle is a brain training thing. And it's a guidance post for you to create your own stuff with, because your life is very unique and specific and special to you. And your brain's designed to read all the data and make things for you that make you adapt and thrive in that, in your environment. And so that's one of the things we want to see your brain doing, is that you're getting better and better with where you're at, your family system, your work, your job, your business, whatever, wherever you find yourself. You stay there long enough, we want to see growth, mastery, maturation, wisdom. We want to see all those really cool things. When we're not processing, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Our brain can't make that stuff for us. It's available to us. All the information's there. It's not converting it into those higher things. And so we won't see ourselves mastering. We'll actually see our environment start to kind of crush us, and we're just not thriving. We're surviving the environment, but not thriving. And so we want a principle in here that's going to shift us into thriving, and a way of interacting with our systems that really create health and wellness, growth, thriving, synergy, all the good things, deep connections, those sorts of things. And so that's what this principle is to help you start creating. And we're gonna talk brain function, why this is important to your brain, what this looks like in real time, how to use this. Okay, so I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress, and to really build healthy skills like communication, things like communication that have been impaired by trauma, by generational patterns, things like that. And so we're restoring a ton of function, and the brain has a process for this. That process gets stopped and blocked, and so our brain won't resolve our symptoms. It won't upgrade our ability to communicate, and you'll notice that, you'll feel that. And so all my work specializes in getting this brain process unblocked and getting your brain able and capable and supported to do the work it needs to do to create the thriving, the healthy communication, resolve the symptoms, those sorts of things. And this happens quickly. Brains are really, really good at this, but they can't do it if that process is blocked. And so just like bodies are good at digesting, they can't do it if there's a blockage in the intestines or something, right? I'm not medical, but let's just say that you're not going to see digestion happening. You're going to see problems. Same thing emotionally and mentally. There's an emotional and mental digestive process, and a conversion process where it helps us make our emotional and mental vitamins and structures. And I'm trying to make this analogy relate. But if that process is blocked, we're not going to see that stuff happen. And we want to, and you can, even if and especially if you've had a history of complex PTSD and your brain hasn't had practice doing this, we're going to give it tons of support and restore that ability as well. So that's where we're at. Oh, let me tell you this little fun fact. That process, this process of resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, and also building healthy functions and higher functions, it's a whole mind body system process. And there's a part of the brain, the survival system, that will open it or close it off. It will allow it to run or block it and stop it and slow it down. That survival system is really what I help people work with, because if we can get it open, the rest of the brain can do the rest of the things that it's going to do. If the survival system closes that process down, it's not opening. And so we really want to influence the survival system to open and allow the whole brain to work on things, as opposed to closing things down and shifting into survival modes, survival states, fight, flight, freeze, faint, and fawn, and all the fabulous concoctions, and that happen in those states that are not fabulous. Okay, spoiler alert. So the survival system is very different than the executive functioning and prefrontal cortex parts of the brain, and it needs to receive information differently. So we're actually using the body to send up the information that will influence it to allow healing to happen. And so this is also the same process for nervous system regulation, nervous system reorganizing, nervous system rewiring. This process the brain's going to rewire. Whatever happens, it's going to interpret the data, process, integrate the data, and rewire based on its understanding of what's actually happening. And these parts of the brain are great at understanding what's actually happening. Okay? All right. So, and this process needs to be running for you to start using this communication principle. So this is not where I start people, but I have a lot of people using my free intervention training. They're working with their brain, they're getting their brain to do the healing functions, and this is becoming available. And so now here we are. I don't want you to just go here and think you're going to do this from your thinking center. It won't create enough change. We actually need your survival system allowing a lot of the flow, the mind body connection flow. There's a ton of sensory data, emotional data that comes up and that gets up here. We want that included. We don't want it left out. Otherwise, your brain's going to make things that aren't emotionally intelligent. It's going to make things that look like emotion never visited this thought process ever, because it hasn't. We need the brain to go through its process. Also, sensory data. It's like you never had that experience. Why is your brain acting like you never had that experience? Oh, because it didn't get the sensory data. It doesn't know you had that experience. The body's talking about it down here, but the prefrontal cortex can't receive that information because the survival system's blocking that. So we want to get this open so that that sensory data gets up there, and that they can make solutions and executive functioning and thinking and thoughts and ways of being and behaviors for you that look like they've reviewed all the emotional content and the somatic and the sensory data. And so it's looking more wise and intelligent. Okay. So once that stuff starts happening, you're in the ballpark. Okay. So if you're getting this video right away, jump in here and get these interventions, try them out, find a fit, and then keep using it, and you're going to see that this video makes so much more sense. Okay, so wherever you're at, here we go. Say its name. Okay, what is it that we're talking about? It that we're talking about is dysfunction or function, right? One of those two things. We want to say its name. Now, a lot of us with histories of complex PTSD end up being in very dysfunctional environments. So we really want to get good at saying the name of the dysfunction. There's some principles here that just brain wise, our brains do a building function. They like to put things together and build, and they also do a destruction. They take things apart. Whatever gets attention is going to either get the building or the destruction. And if you're processing, your brain will do these things accurately. If you can't process, your brain will build things it's not supposed to be building and take things down that it's not supposed to be taking down, like your self-confidence. It will just unravel that stuff. Or building relationships with narcissistic abuser. It will build that stuff nice and tight. It's not supposed to be doing that. That's a processing error. And so we want to get stuff moving correctly so that the brain is tearing things down and building things up. Okay. So what I want you to get good at is saying its name, the name of the dysfunction. If you can name it, you can tame it. That's another principle. Because if you can identify something and give it a name, there has already been quite a bit of executive functioning happening, sorting, analyzing data, putting language to something. That's an executive functioning thing. That's, if that's happening, we're doing really well here. And then we're checking, is this accurate? If it's not accurate, we've got another problem, right? But if you keep processing, you're going to get really accurate here. It's a natural brain state. That's a natural brain product, is accuracy. If your brain is processing, if you're not processing, you're going to get inaccuracy. You're going to get things wrong. You're going to be out in left field. This is why when narcissistic individuals are making accusations a lot, or people have habits and patterns of using a violent communication with of accusations, falls in that category, or aggressive communication. Accusations are in there. They're accusing of things that are not accurate. They haven't fact checked. They haven't done any reality checking. They are just putting stuff out here and throwing it out. There's a processing problem there, and the survival system is all involved with that. I don't want your survival system involved with your communication. And if you're looking for this, say its name, where's the dysfunction here? We're actually engaging higher the executive functioning. And if you get in here and you support your survival system in these moments, this is where I'm having people use their preferred intervention. Not a random intervention. We've already checked this intervention to make sure that it helps the survival system. The survival system's response to it by opening up the healing process, opening up the processing process, opening up the symptom resolution process, opening the gate to executive functioning, sorting, analyzing, adding language, putting thoughts and words to feelings. We want that process open. So if you're looking for its name and you're processing, you're likely going to find it pretty quickly. People find that they can find it in minutes. They can get regulated. Their brain, this process is very fast. It's electrical. And so if we get your survival system to allow it to run, you're going to see stuff shift in seconds to minutes. I'm not lying. You can time this. You can get your stopwatch out and time it. You will see that it was 30 seconds. You can see that the wheels started turning. The wheels of executive functioning and accuracy started turning in 2 minutes, in 30 seconds, in 15 seconds. Different brains do different things. You want to get to know this. Okay? Now, can you say the name of the dysfunction? And I want you to get quick at this. Now, there's some caveats. And this is a brain training thing, because first we're looking to identify it. That means we're going to walking your executive function, because first you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's disorienting or confusing. The dysfunction and our patterns of reacting are so locked in, right? But all of a sudden we're in this limbo state. We want to process right here, and we want to turn on executive functioning. So it's saying, oh, this is that, this is that, this is that, this is that. Okay, now out of all these three of them might be dysfunction. Grab one and say its name. This is derailing the conversation. This is dismissing my input. This is, I just dismissed that person. This is gaslighting, right? This can be absolutely robotic. You do not have to do this well. In the beginning, you will not do this well if this is not one of the things your brain does. You will be building this from scratch, and might be even trash. I don't care. We're building it. And the first time your brain does it, I'm cheering. I don't care. Because it's like a toddler that gets all of its muscles coordinated to stand up, and it's finally standing up, and then it lets go of the couch. And now it's there, and it can only hold it for a couple seconds, and it's down, and we're all cheering. That was awesome, right? That's what we're doing here, because once it's done once, no matter how awful it is, your brain can do it again. And the next time it'll be a smidge better. And the third time might be even worse. Maybe you couldn't do it. But now we're on the road. Fourth time you try to do it, it's getting smoother. Fifth time, it's more natural. Sixth time, wow. Well, look at me. That was really easy. Sixth time, seventh time, eighth time. Next thing you know, it's part of who you are. And you're somebody who can say its name. Okay? We're wiring this stuff in. Okay, now don't go running off and doing this. You might not be ready for that step. This is the end game I'm talking about. There is a process for this, and you got to walk through the process. I don't know what that process looks like for you, but you got to follow your process. And there's tons of signs your mind-body system will give you. And there's a couple I'm going to point out right now. And it might feel like this is slow, but there's that book out. It's like, it says, it's a neuroplasticity thing. It says, oh, think slow to think fast. I'm butchering that. But if you slow this down, you will be able to do this very fast. It will be lightning fast, electrically fast. It will be smooth. People will say things like, "I can't believe you said that so well. It was so kind. It was so smooth. It was so timely." And you'll be like, "Oh, I did, didn't I?" It won't be a thought to you because it's running on a subconscious program. And that's where we want it. And we're going to do the work to get it there. Okay? Now, um, this is also how you build function, because whatever you pay attention to, this is a principle. It's not perfect, but whatever pay attention to, you get more of. Okay. And so when we are paying attention to dysfunction, what we want to get more of is healing and taking apart dysfunction. We want lots of that. We want to take it right on apart. And then once brains understand something, the dynamics of something very deeply, it will start rebuilding things very, very well. If you have problems in your life and you want to change them, you need to understand the dynamics very, very deeply. This is wonderful when we're working on our inner world. That's a lot of what my program is about, teaching you how to get access to these deeper dynamics and to master them. And then you start to pull them all together and do really, really beautiful things with them. That's Once you can do that, now you're ready for relationships. You apply the same principles to relationships. Okay. But it's more challenging right there now. But so you have to understand the relationship dynamics more deeply enough that you can play with them in a way that really creates big shifts. And a lot of times when you understand them very deeply, you'll just make one small adjustment and the whole thing runs better. Trauma brains, I don't want to say it like that. Brains that are heavily impacted by trauma and this processor is not resolving it yet, um, can't do the processing work of getting in there and understanding the dynamics very deeply and creating a very nuanced solution. And so what that will tend to watch happen is we'll either not try at all, or we'll throw the whole thing and start over again. We'll set the whole thing on fire and start over again. We'll quit it and we'll start something else. And you'll watch us be very um, uh, changing relationships, hobbies, jobs quickly. Once we hit that point where our brain function can no longer do it, we're out. Or we'll just leave it the same and just accept the dysfunction. There's a few things we'll do in there. Um, and also we'll try solutions, but we don't know the deeper things. So we don't know if the solution is going to fit deeply. So by saying its name, this process goes down, 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 down. You can say its name, all the dysfunctions in there, say their name. And this is a lot of what I'm doing in therapy with people. They'll talk about stuff. Oh, it sounds like what you're saying is this. I'll say its name. And then they're like, yes, that specific brain function, right? We're team working to name it. I'm lending my words for things and then helping wire that in for them, and giving them more clarity. And now they're navigating better. Oh, here's that thing. And they have a name for it, right? Okay. So say its name. Also, when we want to create function, we want to say its name. We want to say, oh, it sounds like you really were paying attention to me. That's functional, right? We like that. It sounds like you were really holding great space for me. Oh, we want to say these things like, oh, I can see you have a red shirt on. Oh, we're just saying the thing. Oh, I can see you have a flower in the back, Rachel. We just casual conversation, but we're saying the name. We're trying not to add a ton of, what? You have a flower back there? Or, oh my gosh, I love that you have a flower back there. With the positive, we can really lean toward the positive. With the negative, we really want to stay as neutral as we can because it's already full of pain. Having somebody say the name of your dysfunction can be extremely painful. You saying the name of your own dysfunction can be extremely painful. We don't need to add to it because that will make it more difficult for the brain to process, because pain is what is shutting down the survival system, the closing the doors to processing. The survival system is like, no. And so then we have to say, no, no, it's safe. And we have to get that safety signaling in there to get those open again. We can do that, but it's more work. Okay. So it's better if you'll say these things in a neutral way. or and the positive doesn't get flagged by the brain, so you can be hyped up and excited about the positive. It doesn't usually flag the brain, but it can. So you want to judge that stuff accurately. So you'll get good at this. You really will. So I'm going to throw this out there um, in the various stages. Okay. Um, so when I'm talking about say it, sometimes it is not safe for you to say this out loud in your environment. So don't. Safety first. Your safety matters. The more safety you have, the faster you heal. So I don't want you to go take this principle and just go start saying it out your mouth and put it on the table everywhere. Especially if you're experiencing domestic violence. Some people's family systems are so dysfunctional that if you were to say anything if you name the dysfunction, it will seriously shatter the family or separate everyone or get you rejected and you're done. That's a big decision to make, and I wouldn't want you practicing a mental health skill to end your options, because there's a lot of ways of working with this. I'm not trying to, no contact is not the right answer for everybody, and some of y'all are ready for some no contact. Say its name is going to get you that pretty fast. If you say the name, if you start saying the name of dysfunction and people are not ready to change, they will move away from you because you're actually causing their brain pain, and they can't resolve that pain. That's why we're doing this. I want you to be able to process pain. I want you to be a great pain processor so that your brain can sift through the pain and see, is this growth pain? Is this connection pain? Is this long term? Is this forever? Is this going to destroy me? No, it's not actually. And I can see this is really the information I've been looking for. Wow, this gives me so many options. I want that to be a process for you, instead of just what happens with a non-processing brain is it can't now analyze anything about the pain. It's just the survival system's pain, survival state, pain, survival state. There's no processing going on. So we don't get any of the learning functions going on. We don't get to use pain information in our environment, emotional pain, in our environment for growth and wellness, which is the brain's designed to do that. So we're missing out on tons of our own brain's abilities, and it's really limiting our options because brains don't like new things, right? Your survival system's like, this is new, I don't know if we'll survive, let's get out of here. Okay, wait, hold on, we're safe. Let's get that open. Let's let the whole brain make this decision. Let's let them review the data. They're the reasonable, rational, thriving ones. Let's let them look at it. So we're sending those safety signals using these different interventions right here to let the whole mind body system evaluate the pain. You'll watch as it gets processed, it will be converted away from, it won't be pain anymore. You actually won't be able to find the same pain. Shame pain, it's almost like it disappears. That's not what happens. It's getting converted into other forms. Brains do this, but it's like before I feel all this shame. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk about it. And I don't feel any shame. Let me talk about it. Minutes, seconds. I'm serious. Get your stopwatch out. Yeah. Anyway, so, okay, but maybe we're not saying this out loud, but can you say it in your head? Can you say, oh, he's dismissing me. Oh, she's stonewalling me. Oh, they're intentionally misinterpreting my statement, right? The next thing you're going to do here is you're going to build protocols. What's my practice? What do I do when I'm being dismissed? You want your brain to do this, not just your thinking center, because whatever thought you do, you have to have the neurology for your body to come with you and do it. Because if you say, oh, when I'm being dismissed, I'm getting up and walking away. Well, that's a great idea, but is your body frozen and you can't? Because you don't have the neurology for getting up and walking out yet. You need to build that. And we work with that survival system to rework your protocol. Maybe I get up and leave when that happens. Okay, well, let's get your body on board. Body, you want to get up and leave? No, they're going to say this, right? We're going to take care of the body's worries. We're going to process all of that stuff. That idea makes me terrified. My stomach is a knot. It's so heavy. There's this elephant on my chest. The body's going to tell us all these things. We're processing it. And I teach a lot of these strategies in my, these are nuanced ways of being. I don't do videos on them. I don't even know. that idea, I can't even process that. It's in my program. I teach it. It's built, but there's tons of skills before we get there. So I'm not going there. But um, but that's what we want to do. Okay, next. Can you say its name out loud? Do you have enough safety? Can people tolerate this? Will this be helpful and beneficial? Will this help create? Will this be used constructively, or will this be used destructively? One of the things the principle I talked about last was don't throw your pearls to pigs. There's my train coming by. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. You're going to check their brain state. Is this the right time? Are they in the right brain state for me to say its name out loud between us? Should I wait? Right? There's executive functioning involved here. There's processing going on here. This is why we're practicing outside of situations so that we can build programming for it, and then we're going in subconscious programming. We're building the neurology and the subconscious programming and the wiring and all the things to be able to do the things. Then we go and we try it out and see how it does. And we say, oh, that was really good. Or, ooh, I fumbled the ball on this. We grab it up, the whole program back up, and we run it through the processor again outside of the situation. Other people don't have to do our emotional and mental work when we know what we're doing here, and we can help ourselves, which is why I train people, because you're going to be with you all the time. I want you able to do your work. I don't want you waiting in for your next therapy session, for your therapist, your inner world mechanic to get in there. I want you to be the mechanic, and I want you to work with other mechanics, because especially with complex PTSD, we've got so much stuff to overhaul. There's a lot of work to do. I don't want you dependent and waiting. Your brain is ready to rock and roll, and you will need specific skills. That's a real thing. And so that's really why I've set my program up. And the way I have is to give you the training and the support and to help you build skills. And there's that. Okay. If you can say it out loud, you can say its name. Can you say it consistently? How many times can you say it now? Can you say it each time? I remember when I started this and the person was like, oh, so you learned a new word? And I was like, actually, I did. I did learn a new word. And I'm going to keep saying it because this is actually what's happening here. Right? And understand, just because we're learning these skills doesn't mean other people are. It doesn't mean that, but we can still hold it. And if they had said, oh, so you learned another word now. And I said, which is what my neurology would have done. I'm sorry, my bad. Right? No, we're pulling that program back into the shed, into the shop, and working on that. Let's go stand in your truth. Nope, not yet. Okay, let's pull it back out in the shop, right? Let's pull it back out. Can you stand in your truth? Okay, next. And once we've got that and we're consistent and we're grounded, next, can you say it with kindness? Can you say it with power? Can you say it in beast mode? Can you say it quietly? Can you whisper it? Can you shout it from the rooftop? Like, now we're putting style points on it. Right? Now we're matching your style, who you actually are. We're making it authentic, and we want to build it skills. There is a time for everything under the sun. That's what I think. Okay, so there is a time to say something in bitch mode. There's a time to say something in gentle, nurturing mode. There's a time to say something firmly and assertively. There's a time for all these things. So now we want to build out the skills. Right? And then brains, it's like you just built them a bunch of tools. We practice using them. And we're practicing. A lot of times you'll watch your brain imagining yourself using them. You're at the top of the roof screaming things. You're saying things like a little mouse. You're saying things gently and soothingly. You're saying things happy. You'll watch this mental practice, which is valid. This is your brain building things. You're getting a peek into the shop. And you don't need to control it, even if it's ugly, bad. Your brain is learning about it. It knows what your values and morals are. As long as you're processing, it's going to take all this stuff and walk it through the values and moral part. And the moral part, they're going to get in there and be like, now, did you really need to scream that in that person's face in your fantasy? No, I don't think you did. Or maybe I could see why you did. It's going through the review committee. It will be fantastic and fine. Okay, so I don't want you to be worried about the fantasies going on in your mind. That's brain work. That's brain function. And if you don't like it, it's probably not complete yet. Leave it alone. Let it cook. Don't take it off the burner. Let it stay cooking. It's going to be beautiful. And you could tell your brain, I don't like that. Tap, 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 whatever your preferred intervention is. And you can get it to make it better and better and better, make it more customized to who you are and how you want to show up in the world and what's authentic to you. Yourself can feel, oh, that doesn't quite feel right, or ooh, I like that. All of that's your body participating too, right? We want all parts of you happy with what your brain is making. That's how we get expansion and that natural feeling. So, okay, so say its name. That's it. And keep practicing, keep processing, keep building your skill set, keep supporting yourself. Um, if you do nothing but get these interventions that help your brain shift into processing mode, you're going to win. Use them a lot. I have people in my program, I encourage people to use these for 2 hours a day here and there. And there's some strategies for this. I outline a lot of those to make it doable. But so I encourage you, if you're only going to do the free program, interventions for inner world transformation, use it a lot. Use it a lot. Use it a lot. If you want me to walk you through this process, I have a very specific process that is an 8-week process, and it's for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. A lot of people with post-traumatic stress will want to go through this a couple times. Not with post-traumatic stress, with complex PTSD. You're gonna want to work through this in layers. And but anyway, this is my process for resolving these disorders in 2 to 6 months. And so, and really getting you on even playing ground, brain function wise. And so, that's what I want to share. So I will see you around. Say its name. See what happens. Be safe. Be wise with this, and give yourself some grace, and practice outside of the situation. Okay? Practice in your journal. Practice with your friends. Practice as a fly on the wall. Ooh, she's derailing the conversation. Oh, he's dismissing them. Oh, sit back and let your brain cook, because anywhere it practices a skill, it's practicing, which means it's getting better and better and better. I don't care where that happens, because then your brain has a skill, and then we can say, hey, brain, that skill that we built over there, can you do that here? And then it will wire it in over here and over here and over here. Okay, so have fun. We learn best in fun, and play bingo with this. Like, set yourself up a little mental game. Like, oh, I found it over here at work. I found it there. Right. Some of this stuff is very heavy. It's very heavy. It's very dysfunctional. It's very toxic. I know. And can we make a game out of it? Can we disconnect from some of these painful layers that we're not ready to tackle? And can we just build one of these skills? Okay. So I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.